Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In previous video, we will learn about some fundamentals of system design for data engineers, like how to approach a interview, like whether it is like to take an interview, like some discussion between two persons. And yeah, in today's video, we will learn about uh, some different steps to approach a given problem. Like if you are given a use case, like then how will you approach to that given problem? Okay, so yeah, there can be a multiple steps, and in this video I will talk about some 5 to 6 steps. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. So before jump into the solution, what we have to do, the first thing is like always clarify the requirement. Okay, this is the most important thing, I would say. Like it is always clarify the requirement. Okay, because once you clarify the requirement, or once you clear the questions like what is the use case, like then it will be easy for you to go further. Okay, so in this step, what kind of question you can ask to, to clarify the things? For example, you can say like, okay, who are the users for your data? Like whether it can be a data analyst or a data scientist or business analyst. Okay, so the next question you can ask like, okay, what are the use case? What are the use case? Like whether it is like you are creating a system for pipe fraud detection, or for something like Netflix recommendation system. Okay, some like fraud detection, or whether it is your recommendation system. Okay, something like that. And the most important thing is like, what is the source of your data? Source of your data, like whether you are getting the data from IoT device, or from some APIs, or from Kafka, and whether it is your flat files. Okay, and once you know the source of data, you have to ask like, okay, what is the format of your data? Format of your data, like whether it is your Parquet file format, or a CSV file format, or JSON, or whether it is your Avro. Okay, something like this. And the next one is like volume of your data. Volume of data, like what is the volume of data you have to receive on each time. Okay, like whether it is your petabyte, or it is your gigabyte, or whether it is your terabyte of data. Okay, and once the volume of data is clear, you can ask something like, okay, whether your pipeline is run in batch mode, or incremental, or it is a real time. Because it is, if your use case is like for recommendation or fraud detection, then it must be a real time. Okay, there is no sense to ask like, okay, if your use case is fraud detection, then is your pipeline is run in batch? This is not make sense, right? Okay, so the next one is, you can like, how critical is your data? Like you can ask critical in the sense of like, okay, if you are losing 5% of data, or 3% of data, it is like negotiable, or we have to we have to achieve the 100% of data accuracy. This kind of question you can ask, right? Okay. And the another thing is, like data masking. Data masking is like, personal identity information, like whether it is your phone number or Gmail account, or your debit or credit card number. Okay. So yeah, this kind of questions you can ask to clarify your the use case, or to better understand the use case. Okay, this is the some examples. It is not necessary that you have to only ask this kind of only this set of questions. You can ask for the more. Okay, these are the some examples, like you can ask this kind of things. Okay, once you clarify the requirement, like what are the requirement, like what the use case is, what are the use case of your data, source of your data, file format of your data, volume of your data masking things, and the criticality of data. Once these are confirmed, or once you clear these things, the next thing what you can do, you can draw a high level architecture, I would say. Okay, draw a high level architecture. Uh, Here, don't directly jump into the specific tools and technology. Okay, here don't discuss like, okay, I have to, okay, if you are receiving data from API, or your volume of data is like 30 terabyte of data, or like this, then don't jump into a specific tools and technology in this step. Okay, here just draw high level architecture. Okay, something like okay, we have to extract your data, store the data into a staging layer. Okay, and then you have to clean and process the data, and then load the final data set. Okay, you can uh, draw this kind of high level architecture. Okay, or you can say like that. Okay, we extract the data from API, for example. Okay, from API, and store the raw data as it is into our staging layer. Okay, once the data is in staging layer, from there a job will be run. Okay, that will read the data from staging layer, clean the data, and once the data is clean, we again store the clean data into another storage layer. Okay, or another storage location. Once the data is cleaned, that job will apply some business logics, something like transformation, joins, and aggregation, and write the final result into, like our data warehouse, or our final destination. Okay, you can say like this. And once you draw the high level architecture and explain the things, the next step is to, here comes the step like tools and technology. Okay, tools and technology. Here you can discuss about like what tools and technology you can use for a specific stage, like like for each stage, like for extraction what tools and technology used, and for staging layer, for cleaning, for processing, and for loading, what tools and technology you have to use for each stage. Okay, so mm, okay, so if we comes to extract things, like what kind of tools and technology you can think of, like, okay, we can extract the data from SFTP, we can extract data from API, we can get data from Kafka, also we can get data from Kinaxis, Kinaxis, and also we can what we can whatever other things. Okay, like this. Okay, these things we can get the data from. Okay, and once the data we extract the data, we have to store data. Okay, that is in staging layer we will store the raw data as it is, or also we have to store the cleaned data also. Okay, for that purpose we can use the data lake. Okay, for data lake what we can use, we can use the AWS S3, or we can use like SDFS, or we can use Google Cloud Service, or we can use like Azure ADLS Gen 2. Okay, this is the data lake thing. Once our data final data set is created, we have to load data into data warehouse, right? So for data warehouse, what thing we can use? We can use our Snowflake. We can use our BigQuery. We can use AWS Redshift. We can use also Delta Lake also. Okay. So what I said, like once our data is loaded into staging layer, we run a job, okay, for cleaning and to process the data, right? So it is not like, okay, we will wait when the data is in staging layer, we will manually clean the data or process the data. It is not like that, okay? We have to schedule or orchestrate the things. For that orchestration, what we will use? For that orchestration, what thing we can do? We use like Azure Data Factory we can use, or the most popular one is like the Airflow thing we can use, or we can use the Dexter we can use. Okay, or else AWS step function also we can use. Okay, so once the the job is scheduled or managed, we have to process these things also, right? To apply the business logic also. To process these things, what would, like, this is kind of like to data process, right? So to data process things, what we can use, like processing thing, what we can use like Spark, or if it is a real time, then we can use the Spark streaming, or we can use like Apache Flink, or sometimes we can use the DBT also, right? Okay, once the tools and technologies that you have discussed, what is the extraction, like what the tools and technologies were used, like for storing the data, like for some unstructured data or the semi-structured data, and from structured data also, and for orchestration things like how to schedule the jobs and managing the jobs, and another thing is like how to process the things. Once these are completed, the next thing we can discuss about like like some industry practices. Industry practices. What is industry practices? Um, the mm, the one thing like is monitoring the pipeline, right? Monitoring, like if to check like if the pipeline is running fine or not, if it, like if the pipeline is healthy or not. It is not like that the pipeline is running for last 10 hours or like last 15 hours. It is not like that, or like the pipeline is running for last 6 hours and no one is watching that. Okay, it is not like that. We have to monitor the pipeline in a regular basis, I would say. Okay, and the next thing is like to check the data quality. Okay, data quality, I would say like it is not like we are if our we receive the data, then it is not like we lost our 15% or 20% of data while cleaning the data. It is not like that. Okay, we have to maintain the quality of data and clean the data, like all of those things. So we have to maintain. Okay, the another thing is like alerting. Sorry, the next thing is alerting. Alerting is like if your pipeline is failed, then we have to receive the email or like some notification, whether it is an email or some SMS kind of thing. So right, it is not like that if your pipeline is failed uh, and you saw after uh, 6 or 3 hours later and oh, your pipeline is failed. It is not like that, right? Once your pipeline is failed, we have to immediately receive the notification that your pipeline is failed. Okay. Or similarly, like if your pipeline is completed successfully, then we have to receive the email or SMS notification that successfully completed the pipeline. Okay, something like this. And the another thing is like to manage access, like uh, to handle the personal information, like we have already discussed right about this, like to for personal information like phone, Gmail, or debit or credit card, something like this. Or we have to track the lineage, like for our system, what is the downstream and what is the upstream systems. Okay, something like this, managing the access. Okay, once the industry practices is discussed, like monitoring thing, data quality alerting, and manage access, uh, I would say these four steps are like is enough to finalize your answer, right? To from source to destination, things like how your data is flow. It is not like okay, you have designed a system like how data is flow from source to destination. What businesses are most focusing on how to reduce the cost. Okay, once you once you create a system, okay, or once you design the system, like how from source to destination how your data is flow, the last thing is like some cost optimization step, right? Here we can discuss about like how do you optimize the cost, like how do you reduce the cost of the of our system. Okay, the for example, we can say that okay, if we are using the data lake, we can use the life cycle policy. Okay, for data lake, we can use the life cycle policy. Like in AWS, there are different life cycle policies, right? And for ADLS Gen 2 also there are some different policies like hot, cool, and cold, I guess, something like this. So we can use those life cycle policies for our cost optimization things. Also for Snowflake, for like for data warehouse, for Snowflake and Redshift and some BigQuery. Also we have some like some optimization techniques also, like some data warehouse things. We have also some optimization techniques, right? That also you can use. And the another thing is like yeah, for processing also, like if you are using Spark, uh, if you are using Spark, then we have some Spark optimization techniques, right? That also we have to apply the things like to optimize the cost or reduce the cost. Okay, because businesses are more focused on how to reduce the cost. Okay, it is not like that okay, you are created a system, that's okay. It is not like always like that. Okay, you have to optimize the things on regular basis. Okay, so yes, these are the 5 steps to reach out your answer in a given use case. Okay, so Yeah, the first one is like always clarify the requirement, like who are the user, what are the use cases, and what is the source of your data, what is the volume of your data, and what is the file format, and how critical is your data, and the data masking thing, all of those things. First, you have to ask those, okay? And once you clarify the requirement, we have to draw high level architecture, like how your data is flow. High level architecture, like this is the data flow, okay? Like how your data is flow from source to destination things, okay? And the next thing is like clarify the tools and to uh, discuss the tools and technologies you have used at each step in your data flow, like extraction, staging, plain, process, and load kind of things, okay? Once tools and technologies are discussed, we have to discuss some industry practices like to monitoring your pipeline, or to also to maintain the data quality, and some allotting your pipeline or allotting your jobs, and to learn the to manage accesses like personal identity information, or we have to check the data lineage, okay? All of those things we have to check. Once this is completed, like the industry practices is completed, we have to discuss the cost optimization things, right? Like how do you reduce the cost of uh, system, all of those things. Like we, what optimization technique we can use, like for transformation or from storage or from data warehouse things, okay? All of those things we can discuss, okay? Okay, these are the 5 steps we have to approach with, like we have to follow to approach a solution for given use case, okay? That's it for today's video. And from next video we will deep dive into like for each steps, or for each tools and technologies, okay? Like why to choose these tools, or why to choose these technologies for a specific tools and technologies, so why should not choose like those tools and technologies, okay? All this kind of thing we will discuss from next video onwards. And yeah, thank you for watching. And yeah, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys.